The federal government's fiscal deficit rose from 491.28 billion naira in the month of March this year to 643.09 billion naira by April this year. Well, that's according to the latest figures obtained from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The banking regulator's April economic report states that the 14.3% increase retained revenue was offset by the 23.8% rise in public spending, leading to an expansion of the fiscal deficit. At 643.09 billion naira, the provisional fiscal deficit was 30.9% above the level in the preceding month. And according to the report, fiscal conditions remain challenging, as we also see in April 2022, despite higher revenue outcomes. Now, provisional collected revenue at the federal level rose by 66.3% relative to the level in March, but fell short of the budget by 14.7%. The debt profile of the federal government of Nigeria remains elevated as government incurred new borrowings to part finance the deficit in the 2022 budget. However, the debt stock is within the federal government's medium-term debt strategy. And now, in a related development from the Central Bank of Nigeria as well, data has shown that the aggregate foreign exchange inflows into the Nigerian economy dropped by 17.3% to $6.58 billion in the month of April this year, compared with the $7.95 billion which was recorded in March. The Apex Bank, in its April 2022 economic report, also released over the weekend, stated that total foreign exchange outflow also decreased by 11.3% to hit 3.95 billion naira from the 4.45 billion naira which is recorded in the preceding month. Now, the report also disclosed that foreign exchange inflow through the CBN declined by 25.6% to hit $2.47 billion from the $3.32 billion attributed mainly to the 54.3% decrease in non-oil components of the sector of the GDP as a result of an inflow of the $1.25 billion proceeds from government debt in the preceding month, as well as TSA, third-party receipts, and other official receipts. Specifically, the report states that weaker global growth concerns amid global inflation pressures and uncertainties in the international market have also led to a decline in general trade performance that were recorded in April this year. And away from that now, technology experts want Nigeria to explore the renewable energy option of power generation to meet its electricity needs. They were speaking at a symposium on advanced technological synergy for renewable energy production in sub-Saharan Africa. Lara Folayo has the details.
Nigeria continues to grapple with problems of epileptic power supply, and this has affected all facets of its economy. The challenge has remained amid the adoption of various strategies to step up electricity production.
The BBC ABU.
Experts in the technology field at this forum are suggesting that the country considers renewable energy as an alternative means of power generation. Renewable energy is produced from natural sources, including wind and sunlight, which are replenished faster than they are utilized.
Nigeria has this new target of 30-30-30, that 30% of energy requirement of Nigeria by the year 2030 should come from renewable energy. And we're assuring you that even from agric and food waste only, there are 1 million other sources of waste. And renewable energy alone can provide solution to up to that 30%.
Goal is to be able to recover value-added products, and in this case, it could be energy, it could be chemicals, it could be soil ameliorants, depending on your strategy. So it's widely deployed in the West, and I don't see any reason why we can't take up those technologies here.
The experts say sub-Saharan economies like Nigeria have huge agri-food industries that generate enormous waste, which end up on dump sites. They feel that though such waste management practices portend environmental pollution and public health risks, their huge organic content composition makes them valuable for energy generating purposes. The Ahmadu Bello University has now collaborated with a UK university on a study focused on renewable energy production for the sub-Saharan African region. Baseline mapping and characterization studies for the innovation have already emerged.
It uses both the conventional anaerobic processes and the anaerobic procedures to ensure that all the waste are converted to what is convertible to. whether it is electricity or biogas.
If you look at waste and you want to talk about the potential impact, you're not only managing waste, you're recovering energy. You're also addressing some of the public health risk.
The design and prototype development for the research work is ongoing in the United Kingdom, with pilot experimentation and full-scale field investigation expected to begin soon in Nigeria. The outcome of the innovative engineering solution is expected to address problems of agri-food waste management, domestic energy shortages, and lack of integrated and improved cooking solutions. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
Well, we now shift focus to the international front as Asian shares slipped today and the dollar extended its climb amid angst over global growth as most central banks keep raising rates, while a modest easing by China served only to highlight troubles in its property market. U.S. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell headlines a host of policymakers at Jackson Hole later in the week, and the risks are that he will not meet investors' hopes for a dovish pivot on the policy expectations. Now, MSCI's Products Index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan fell a further 0.6% today, though Chinese blue chips did manage to gain 0.7%. South Korea's Kospi shed 1.3%, while Japan's Nikkei fell 0.5%, though it has drawn support from the recent sharp reversal in the yen. Euro Stock 50 futures lost 0.2%, as well as London's FTSE futures dropping at 0.1%. S&P 500 futures eased 0.5%, as we also saw Nasdaq futures also at about 0.6%. And now in the banking sector, Credit Suisse has hired Dutch bank's Dixit Joshi as Chief Financial Officer and promoted Francesca McDonough to Chief Operating Officer as the Switzerland's new boss overhauls the top ranks. Ulrich Körner, the latest in a string of chief executives at Credit Suisse, is also trying to put the bank back on track after years of scandal and losses. Under the reshuffle, we also see Dixit Joshi, who was group treasurer at Deutsche Bank, will join on the 1st of October. He had previously worked at Credit Suisse from 1995 to the year 2003. Francesca McDonough, also already announced as Chief Executive Officer of the EMEA region, will also, as COO, support Ulrich Körner in the steering and strategic development of the group, including operational and cost transformation. And away from that, China cuts its benchmark lending rate and lowered the mortgage reference by a bigger margin today, adding to last week's easing measures as Beijing boosts efforts to revive an economy hobbled by a property crisis and a resurgence of COVID-19 cases. The People's Bank of China is walking a tightrope in its effort to revive growth. Offering too much of stimulus could also add to inflation pressures and risk capital flight as the Federal Reserve and other economies raise interest rates aggressively. However, weak credit demand is forcing the PBOC's hand as it tries to keep China's economy on an even keel. Now, the one-year loan prime rate was lowered by 5 basis points to 3.65% at the central bank's monthly fixing today, while the 5-year LPR was also slashed by 15 basis points to 4.3%. The one-year LPR was last reduced in January, and the 5-year tenor, which was last lowered in May, influences the pricing of home mortgages. And wrapping up business news at SR, oil prices on the international market slumped today, ending 3 days of gains as investors are concerned aggressive U.S. interest rate hikes will weaken the global economy and dent fuel demand, while a strengthening dollar also adds pressure. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude recorded a price drop of 1.8% to hit $89.14 per barrel. Brent crude sells at about $95.06 per barrel, registering a downward price margin of 1.8%. Bonner Light's trading performance is still static at $118.10 per barrel, with a 3.25% decline in price. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $98.22 per barrel, recording a 2.6% price surge.